Good morning, everyone. It is Friday, May 8th. It is 8:28 a.m. And in this new series, I want to bring you all along with me on my journey as I hopefully transition from software engineer to advanced software engineer. Software engineer is currently my title right now, so that is technically level 2 in my company, and level 3 is advanced software engineer. And along the way, I want to hopefully provide helpful feedback, helpful insight that I receive from my peers, that I receive from the work that I do, and basically just my day-to-day life as I work, and hopefully help one of you all out there as well that are in their early stages of the software engineering career. For example, I'm going on 4 years, so I would still consider myself really early on in my career, and it has been nothing but enjoyable. I find it a true blessing that I get to do something that I love and to learn as much as I do and have a helpful team. So I wanted to hopefully provide some helpful feedback for anybody out there, and also just entertain and just bring you guys along with me as I hopefully transition from this level 2 to level 3 position. So before we get the last day of the week started, I'm going to actually go pick up a coffee and of course pick up a matcha for my wife from one of our favorite coffee shops. And it is pretty gloomy outside, so I think it's gonna make for some nice shots and just a nice ambiance. So let's go do that. We'll get back, we'll log in, and then we'll get the day started. Alright guys, so I just got back. I got my iced Americano right here, and I got my wife her matcha that she likes. So I'm ready to start the day. While I was on my way back, I actually did get pinged by our staff engineer. He asked me if I could check out some PRs. That was gonna be my first thing on my to-do list today. So yeah, so I'm gonna get that started, and then I'll get back to you guys with an update. Alright, so before we start, I did want to reiterate and mention again that I am on call today. And so all that means is that I get pinged on any customer issues that may come in, or if any customers are seeing something that doesn't look right or something that is not working properly, we get a task ticket assigned to us by our ops team, and yeah, we take a look at them and see if we can figure something out. We always try to make sure that it is our team that is responsible for the issue. Sometimes it could be an issue for a backend team or a different team that doesn't pertain to us. It just looks like it's on us. So it's gonna be a lot of checking those out. And like I said, I'm gonna check out those PRs from our staff engineer. And then yeah, so let's go ahead and get the day started. Alright guys, so I actually just got off of a meeting right now with the staff engineer that I had mentioned earlier. So he kind of took me through the deployment process in terms of what happens when we are updating dev and staging. We didn't do a prod release, so he didn't show me that, but hoping that maybe next week, if not the week after that, he'll be able to show me how exactly that works, just because he said that it's a little bit different than it is for dev and staging. But I learned a lot, I took a lot of notes, and so this is actually a really good thing that I wanted to bring up, is that I kind of, if you ever have any questions or you want to know more, you want to be a little bit more versatile, which is what I want to do. So in the case that an engineer is not on, usually they're senior engineers that do the deployments, but in the case that anyone is not on that knows how to do a deployment and we need to do a deployment, like to at least know how to work around a deployment and release everything without breaking something, without completely destroying the platform. So there was really good knowledge, and all I did was ask. I asked maybe about a week or two ago, and as he is a staff engineer, he is really busy, and he's also in the process of training one of the incoming managers, so I know like he's even busier. So, but there's nothing wrong with asking. And from the moment that I asked, he said, yeah, let's do something. whenever you see that I'm cutting the staging or something, just go ahead and let me know and we can do a meeting. I could show you. And so he actually set this meeting up for us. So that was really nice. I really appreciated it. And I learned a lot. And now I'm going to be going through my notes and I'm just really just going to be replaying the meeting and, because you were sharing the screen. So I'm really just going to be replaying that in my head. I have to go from here to here. Now I have to do this. Now I have to approve this. And it's really good knowledge. And sometimes all it takes is just to ask, and more than likely your team is going to say yes, whatever it is. I've met with senior engineers, I've met with other software engineers, advanced engineers, and they've all given me so much knowledge because everybody is unique. That's the thing, is that everybody has their own workflow. Everybody does things differently, but that's how you start learning how other people think, how other people work. And eventually, you kind of just take bits and pieces and you become better, and before you know it, you're at their level or maybe even above. And it's not to compare yourselves, it's not to be better than somebody else. No, it's so that way you gain the knowledge, so that way if you guys ever get a new engineer, if you ever get a new intern, you have that knowledge and that wisdom to be able to give to them, because they're pretty much in your shoes that you're in right now, and so that's how I see it. So if other people come in, whether they're interns or software engineers or senior engineers, I would like to have the knowledge of the product that we do, the code base that we work in, to be able to say, oh yeah, if you're looking for this, always remember that you can go here. Or if you are dealing with these permissions, then know that that code base is here. Or if you need to look for test users, go to this document, things like that. So it's just really you are learning and you are gaining your wisdom and understanding to be able to help others. And that's what, that's how it should be. That's what you should want to strive for. Because that is not only going to make you a better engineer, but you are going to be able to help others become better engineers as well. So yeah, so now I'm going to check out that PR because I didn't get to since we had the meeting, but I'm going to do that. Hopefully everything is good. I don't think it should be too hard. And then after that, I'm going to hop on some issues, see if there are any urgent ones. And yeah, so that's where we're going to continue for today. Alright guys, so I just got off of a meeting. It is currently 1:55 p.m., so almost 2 p.m. But I actually had a meeting with another engineer, one of the ones that came in. Super cool guy, he's super smart, super knowledgeable. And so we just had a meeting to kind of catch up, and also he wanted to see kind of like the process that I approach the conversions that we're doing right now. So that's what I'm still working on. I did just get pinged though from the staff engineer again that there's another PR that needs to get reviewed and merged. He said hopefully this is the last one for today, which no problem. But I did want to mention again that this new engineer that came in, he's a senior engineer, and I think it's really great, and I really don't think that there's a problem, and I don't think that you should be ashamed or feel kind of like worried that you don't know enough, because I'm a level 2. I know for a fact that he knows more than I do, that he has a lot more experience than I do, but he still wanted to see how I think about things, the approach that I take for these conversions, or just basically just like my workflow in general. And this is actually something I wanted to talk about. I really feel like it's good to speak to other engineers, to communicate, to just have one-on-ones. Sometimes they're called donut meetings, where you guys kind of just get together and you all start talking and get to know each other, see how the other person thinks, and that's how you start to grow. That's how you start to learn about different ways to approach things, different mentalities of how to think about something. And that's where you start kind of sharing your ideas with each other, start sharing your processes, and you're going to see that eventually, years down the line or months down the line, you are going to start pretty much adopting some of the processes that your peers have. And that's not a bad thing. It's not that you're stealing or anything like that. No, they were just kind enough to offer their wisdom, their understanding, their processes, the way that they think, the way that they approach these problems. And now your brain is developing, okay, I remember this when I was talking to this person, so let me try this. And so that's how you start learning. And don't ever feel like you don't know enough. And what I mean by that is that don't ever feel like you don't know enough to be able to teach something to someone else that has more experience than you, because it's real easy for me to say, well, you know what, you're a senior engineer, I'm pretty sure that you know more than I do, rather than taking him through, walking through the code, walking through my PRs, walking through the processes that I approach, the way that I approach these things. And because now he kind of knows, like, oh, okay, well, now I learned this. And the crazy thing is that we think that we don't know anything. I know I feel that way. I know I feel that I don't know enough, and that I don't know enough to teach somebody else, especially someone that is a higher rank than I am. But the thing is that it's hard for us to see it in ourselves, but we actually do know something. And it really honestly takes somebody else to point that out to us, so that way we can understand and we can realize that, maybe I do know something. Maybe I do understand a little bit of what's going on here. Maybe I do understand the product when I myself don't think I do. And so it's just really taking that leap of faith and really just be like, hey, do you want to meet up? Do you want to have a meeting? He kind of reached out. He's like, I would love to see your processes sometime. And I was like, yeah, sure, let's make a meeting. Like, not like, oh yeah, we can think about something and it never happens. No, I was like, okay, yeah, I'll put something on the calendar. And it just so happened to be today. But I think it was a really great meeting because he started showing me the things that he does on the side. So his own personal projects. He started explaining so much. And now I have those in my head, where later I could say, you know what, I remember he was talking about this. Let me go research that. Let me go learn about that. And that's how that's how it should be. That's how it should start. We're here to build each other up. We're here to edify each other, help each other out, and really just be the best versions of ourselves in the forms of developers that we should, that we could be, and that's, I personally think that that's super important. But yeah, so it is 2:03 p.m. I did not have lunch. I'm not really hungry, but I am going to make a coffee, and then I'm going to get back to reviewing another PR that the staff engineer had asked me for. And then after that, I'm going to keep looking at the task board and seeing if there are any issues that come in. Probably look at some that I had pointed out yesterday, and I wrote some notes. So that's what I'm going to do today. But overall, I think this has been an amazing day so far. Thank God. I have learned so much about the deployment process. I have learned a lot about the internet in general, because this senior engineer, he's super knowledgeable on it. And I wouldn't have known that if I wouldn't have talked to him. So I encourage you, if you feel small, remember that every single engineer, whether they are a director of engineering, whether they are a staff, or whether they are a senior or even advanced, or whatever level they are above you, just know that they also started in the same position at some point in their career, especially at the start. I can guarantee you that they also felt the same way that you are feeling. So just go out and make friends, just go out and build those relationships. And, that's going to solidify the trust that you'll have in each other. And so now you'll see that later on, you thinking that you don't know much, someone's going to ping you and be like, hey, I remember we talked about this. I'm not too knowledgeable on it. Them being a higher rank than you, they're going to come to you for help. And it's not a way of kind of saying like, oh, well, I do know a lot. No. It's that, oh, you know what? This person that I look up to, that I get inspiration from, is actually coming to me for help. That means something. And it should mean something. It shouldn't mean a thing of pride, but it should mean a thing of, you know what, maybe I'm too hard on myself. Let me mellow out, let me chill out, and let me actually just start, realizing that, and let me just realize that I do know something. And that's going to motivate you to want to learn more. And that's what's happening to me right now. That's why I'm looking into the deployment process. That's why I'm looking more into the conversions and speaking to others and seeing how they work, so that way maybe I could implement those principles and practices into my own workflow. So that's how things work, and I highly encourage you to do that as well. And you'll see that later on you're going to learn so much in a shorter amount of time than if you were like me in the beginning, where I felt like I shouldn't ask questions, I felt like I couldn't ask questions, and not because my team is mean or anything, no, but it was just myself telling myself that you should know this already. And that's not the case. We're all learning. We're all here to learn. We're all here to get better and to build each other up. And that's how it should be, not only in engineering, but in everything, in every area, in every aspect of life. So yeah, so I'm gonna go make my coffee, and then I'm gonna get back to work, and then yeah, I'm just gonna see how things go on from there. guys, so it is 4:33 p.m. So I was able to finish up reviewing the PRs for the staff engineer. I merged them in, so that's great. I was also able to keep track of the issue board, the customer issue board, and it was pretty quiet all throughout the day, thank God. I was looking at this one right before finishing up right now, and I figured out what was going on. The only problem is that I can't find the code specifically in our code base. So my only thought and my only guess for that is that it's in a different repo that I don't know about. Or at least I don't know what the name is to be able to track it down correctly. But the last thing that I did right now was I reached out in my team channel, so that way hopefully someone will get back to me. I don't expect anybody to get back to me today. It's Friday, it's already 4:30. A lot of my team is out right now anyways, so probably until Monday morning I'm thinking. But overall, I think it was a really productive day in terms of learning and in terms of getting things done. And specifically learning. I learned so much today after talking to the staff engineer and also after talking to my teammate. So I really enjoyed today. Overall, it was a great Friday to end the week. And yeah, so I'm hoping that I don't get pinged over the weekend. Usually it doesn't happen, but in the case that it does, I should be ready. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed today. I hope you all were able to learn something. And like I said, that's why I want to do this series, not only to help myself and help document, my journey, but also to provide some insight and provide some feedback and advice and some wisdom along the way, and hopefully to help anybody out there that's in their early years as a software engineer, or if you're later in your years as a software engineer. It's always great, like I mentioned earlier, to get different perspective. That's how we learn, and we help edify each other, we help build each other up, and we help each other to get to the best version of themselves, not only as a developer but as a person as well. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope you all have a great and blessed rest of your day, rest of your night, whenever you're watching this, and never forget that Jesus loves you. I'll see y'all in the next one.